Hello and welcome to Machine Complex Part 2. If you do not know what Machine Complex is, go watch Part 1 because I'm not going to explain it twice. So I heard you like long games. Well, as a beginner you probably think that long games are fun and short games are boring, so it is natural you would be looking out for long games. But hey, are long games actually the same as good games? Well, this poses the question, what is a good game? And this is probably hard to answer. So let's instead focus on what is a bad game. Bad gameplay happens, for example, when you find a clear opening in the setup of your opponent, but you do not exploit it. Let's say your opponent has T2 eco, but no access to T2 structures. And it would be super obvious that you could just TML every massing structure they have, possibly even a T2 pigeon or the upgrading factory, but you choose not to do so. This is simply bad decision making, right? Or even worse, you never identified this opening in the opponent's defenses in the first place, because you have bad scouting, bad intel, right? This is even worse. And of course, if your own setup offers an opening for the opponent to exploit, this is also a sign of bad decision making and bad gameplay. So if you do not have any teleport defense by minute 35 in a team game, this is probably going to be bad, right? And if you do not prevent the enemy from scouting you, if you do not prevent the enemy from telling any openings in your setup, well, this is a sign of bad counter intel. Counter intel is not just about building, stealth generators and stuff like that. It's also about denying the scouts that try to fly over your base. And if you do not do this, then you are basically giving the opponent a very easy time at identifying your weaknesses. So this is also bad gameplay. These were some examples, right? So let's turn this around and talk about good gameplay again. Good gameplay is about identifying and exploiting opportunities. And it is also about preventing the opponent from doing the same. And of course, both players are going to do that, or both parties are going to do that, and the game stays balanced. So how is spotting and using opportunities related to the length of the game? Well, in the simple case, we take a look at a short game. Player A spots and exploits opportunities while not leaving openings in the defense. And player B does the exact opposite. And the game is going to end fast. For player A, this will feel like they found a baby to kick in the face, did so, and that didn't take long, so no big deal. But for player B, this will feel like they got raped, and they probably have to watch more of my tutorials, right? And how do long games happen? Well, situation 1, none of the players identifies or exploits opportunities, while their own setup is going to be wide open. And theoretically, both players could easily kill the other, but choose to take up instead because high-tech units are cool. And one player gets the game ender faster than the other, and the winner is determined more or less by a coin flip. It's totally random. If none of the players or parties or teams or whatever are trying to play this game competitively, you may as well just guess the outcome, right? It doesn't matter in the end. And situation 2, in which you're getting a long game, is when both parties identify and exploit opportunities. And both of them prevent the other from getting a large-scale advantage, either by defending or counterattacking. And the duration of the game is growing organically rather than artificially. So high-tech units actually become the only way to end the game, and you do not build them simply because you feel like it. You build them because you have to build them. So can we simplify this model somehow? Well, we probably can. Let's just talk about interaction. A game with a lot of interaction between the parties involved is going to be a good game. And a game with a low level of interaction is going to be a bad game. So which of the two types of long games do you want to play? Well, of course, you're going to say that you want to play the second game, the one with a lot of interaction, because that's going to be exciting to watch and exciting to play. But realistically speaking, which type of long game will beginners play? Well, usually the first one, the one with barely any interaction. And as a beginner, you have to ask yourself, are you okay with this? And if you are okay with this, you are probably not going to improve. You will get lots of fake long games that will never give you the real experience of a good long game. But if you want, you can just go ahead. I don't mind. But if you choose not to be okay with this, you are going to get the mindset of a competitive player. And this means you are moving on a difficult path. For example, my first Paragon I ever built, and I'm talking about a real Paragon, not a fake Paragon, so to say, was maybe after 2 or 3 years of playing this game actively. And by real Paragon, I mean a Paragon which I built because I needed it, not just a Paragon I built after basically already killing my opponent and just trying to show off, right? This is the difference. And you're not going to get many long games because either you are not going to be worth it or your opponent is not going to be worth it, and the game just ends quicker. So if you try to avoid fake long games, you are laying the cornerstone for the mindset of a competitive gamer, and I hope you are here watching this channel because this is what you want. So what do you have to do? Well, first of all, you should fuck no rush settings. Fuck this, hey brah, let's not attack each other for 2 hours because we want a fun long game. This is not how it works. And you should fuck maps that are designed to give you a long, low interaction game. So let's take Gap of Ruin as an example. Map control is not going to be relevant because there are no mass extractors outside the main base. And manual reclaim is not going to be viable, right? Because there are some reclaimables in the center, they're gone after 3 minutes, and the rest of the reclaimables on this map are just lone trees. And they're not going to be tank battles either, so nothing to pick up really, right? So the eco of a 1200 rank player is going to be the same as the eco of a 1400 rank player, which is going to be the same as a 1600 rank player, which is going to be the same as a 1800 rank player. It's not going to make a difference because the difference in rating is actually displaying a difference of making use of the reclaimables on the map. And if there aren't any reclaimables to begin with, and there aren't any fights that are going to leave any reclaimables behind, then it's not going to make any difference at all, and the game is just going to be a long game because difference in skill cannot show to begin with, right? And this is like the definition of a bad map. Teammates on Gap of Rohan could theoretically choose for aggressive openings to induce interaction. They could all build air, they could all build land, and suddenly air snipes and land pushes would become viable. But they choose not to do so because they are used to everybody being passive, and this is why they think being passive is the only way to play this map. But this is totally not how it works, right? But because everybody thinks this is how it works, you will never get a good game on this map. So personally, Gap of Ruin is where I draw the line. Anything even worse than Gap of Ruin is going to be totally unplayable. And this includes dual gap thermo and voodoo maps, for example, right? So what should you do instead? You should play real games on real maps, right? And if the game is short because either player sucked, then one of you was not good enough for a high quality long game, and that's it. If you play against somebody who sucks, kill them fast to keep your claws sharp. And if you play against a much better player, watch the replay to see what to improve. This is the mindset of a competitive player, and this is how you earn good long games. I hope you agree, and good luck, have fun.